So welcome everyone to another episode of the Trailblazers Experience podcast. We're now into our next season with amazing guests. And today I am really thrilled to be talking to someone who embodies beauty, not just from the outside, but from the inside, and very innovative and all about reinvention. Join us in welcoming Amy, who is a powerhouse entrepreneur who has transitioned from a vibrant career in acting and theater to founding the award-winning Hollywood Browzer Beauty. Now, you probably have used this product and didn't know who was behind it, and her passion for making beauty secrets of Hollywood accessible to all of us, I mean, is not only a great business idea, but helps me as well. So, Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
A few dinners ago, an amazing event. I've since tried your product. I am just astounded by anyone who has an idea and says, I'm now going to bring it to market and turn it into something that is, bringing cash as well. So we're going to delve and we want to make sure that our audience can get just the nitty gritty of how did this all start. Your background is nothing short of fascinating. Talk to me about the birth of the Hollywood Browzer Beauty. Take us back to 2017.
Well, yes, it's been a long journey. It's hard to think that, oh my gosh, 2017, that's right. But, you have to start somewhere. I did grow up in entertainment. From the age of 10, I was doing jingles and voiceovers and commercials. So I've always been in entertainment. I'm born and raised in New York, but I did move to LA in the early 2000s, and I was doing TV and film there as well as some theater. And I remember I was having my makeup done by a celebrity makeup artist, and he used a dermaplaner on my skin to prep my skin. And I was like, what is that? And he explained that if you slough off this layer of dead skin cells and peach fuzz, the makeup, it's like a primer for your primer. Your makeup is going to look flawless. Your skincare products will penetrate better. It was like win, win, win. I thought, all right, go for it. And I couldn't believe the difference in how my makeup looked afterwards. And that was it. I was like a convert. Anyway, fast forward to me meeting a lovely Scotsman, moving to the UK after getting married, and I couldn't find dermaplaners anywhere in the UK. Couldn't believe it. Like, why are they not here? So at the time I was acting and producing, and I remember I was doing some TV shopping, QVC guest presenting to make some money while I was getting started with producing Happy Days, the musical. And I was presenting the No hair removal device, and there was such a high return rate. We would do these massive 2 million, 3 million pound sellout shows in 24 hours, and people would return 45%
they
return.
Look scary, Amy. They look scary.
Yeah, there were many, many issues. There was the fact that it smelled like burning hair. They didn't work on everyone. You had to be committed. All these problems. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, light bulb moment. People don't want this 250-pound device that doesn't even necessarily work. They want a dermaplaner. But there were no dermaplaners here because they're going to give you the same result, if not better. Removing the hair, giving you that beautiful, radiant skin. You could do it in the comfort of your own home. The hair grows back the same. No redness, no irritation. It was like all positives. And I thought, wait a minute, this is what people need. So that was like the beginning of my journey. I had to look into how to manufacture, but I was so determined to bring the concept of dermaplaning to the public because I saw the frustrations that people were having by using products that weren't going to give them great results. So that was it. That was the beginning of my journey and lots of ups and downs. But ultimately, I was so happy to be able to bring this incredible treatment to the UK market and introduce people to a treatment that's going to give them great results. And they're going to have total control, use it in the comfort of their own home, and empower themselves to really embrace their journey. And they're looking for beauty. Like, how do you achieve beauty? Well, take matters into your own hands, look for great products like ours, and then get that beautiful result.
I think a lot of it is also about demystifying what the Hollywood secrets are. And I think that's where, if we can also get some tips as to how we can look beautiful and improve our skin and all the regimes, that the skin routine. It's more about the regimes versus the final result. to keep ourselves, primed and ready, etc., which are important. You've talked about the challenges. So what challenges did you have? Because obviously you don't have a background in manufacturing, sourcing. You've got resilience, you've got the entrepreneurial spirit, but what are some of the challenges you face for someone who's listening and might be embarking on that journey?
God, so many challenges. I'm really sad to say, but this is the nature of all businesses, isn't it? I think when you're young and green and just looking to do something great in terms of business, bring something to the public arena, sadly, there's going to be people looking to take advantage of you. There's going to be copycats. It's funny, I was listening to something, I can't remember what podcast. No, I was listening to Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, Nike. And there were lots of knockoffs, of course. And then he said, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, but knockoffs is theft. And sure enough, like even we were super successful from the get-go because I was sourcing only the best qualities. I was using everything on myself, only was going to ever put out something that I would use on myself. I would recommend to friends and family. And our reviews were all 4 and 5 stars. We started to win awards. Like we were this little train that could, like we were just going from strength to strength. And then we got into Boots. And I remember I looked on the website the night before I went to Nottingham for a meeting, and there was something called the Boots Browzer. So they knocked me off completely. I couldn't believe it. I got to my meeting. I said, by the way, Browzer is trademarked. So it was incredible to see just from the early stages that there were so many knockoffs and people trying to jump on your shoulders and then surpass you, just steal. So unfortunately, that's been an issue I've seen. But, I was the first, we were the original, so of course that would be the case.
And you've talked about an important thing about trademarks and IP. It feels like, those are the things to, I would say, get the foundations right when you're starting your business. Is that fair to say?
Yes, but interestingly, I thought I had. And this is another thing I've learned. Really don't trust anyone. My partner, now he never bought into the business, but he did help me in the very beginning stages. We were like husband and wife in business. And things unfortunately went sour and he trademarked the name of a product, my most expensive product, the Hollywood Smoother. He simply just went to the UK IPO and this is the Hollywood Browzer Hollywood Smoother. But he knew that if he just registered those words, I'd be blocked from selling this most expensive of my products on Amazon. And I'm sort of settling this issue because I couldn't believe that someone I trusted the most would do that just to sort of block that side of my business. But, unfortunately, there's a lot of bad people in business. What do they say that business is war without bullets? I hate to say it, but you just have to protect yourself. You have to be vigilant like you would in real life, personal life.
Yeah. I was listening to another podcast where someone was talking about at the beginning, they started the business with their friends and they were all packing the product together and shipping. And he says, that's great when you're doing it for £1,000, £5,000, £10,000. But as soon as you have to scale, put processes in place, think about where you're going to sell in the market, think about trademarks, you quickly realize that your friends are probably who you don't need in the business if they don't have those skill sets. And then also, things like what you've just described have happened to you. You feel, wow, this was a person I trusted, etc. But business is business, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Everything should be in writing and contracts. I'm still, it's not natural for me to not be trusting of people and, not to really let these people I'm a generous person. I like to let people into my life and into the business. And, I never think negatively of people, but unfortunately I should learn from my mistakes and be better at that.
Yeah. But also this is why you're sharing them on the podcast so that somebody out there who might be in that early stages is jotting down in their notes, in their diary, to be better. It's all about paying it forward.
Exactly. And I love to help young entrepreneurs. I really do. So I always encourage those to get in touch. Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, just ask me questions because, I was there not too long ago, just a few years ago. And boy, have I learned a lot of lessons along the way.
So we've just talked about overcoming entrepreneurial hurdles and girl, those were a few. Let's talk about the successes. What are you most proud of in terms of your go-to-market strategy, your branding, where you feel, wow, I think I'm really in a great position now of how we've established ourselves?
I think I'm most proud of is we are a smallish brand and we in many situations with awards and whatnot, we have surpassed the competition. So the big boys, the Gillettes of the world, the Venuses of the world. So, and I think that's because our quality control is second to none. I try every single blade that, I chose a German stainless steel blade because that is the best. And I feel like the bigger companies, they can't worry about the thing. They have thousands of SKUs. I don't. So I have that opportunity to make sure that every single product we put out is going to be the best. Whereas I think bigger brands will see a massive trend in the market and then just like private label something, slap their name on it and think that, okay, now I'm in the game. Now I have a dermaplaner in the marketplace. But ultimately, customers are really savvy. They're going to make sure they read reviews. They're going to try it. They're going to know better. So it's not just a matter of, okay, all dermaplaners are created equal. I'm just going to try the Gillette version. They're going to know, wait a minute. Oh my gosh, that's scratchy. That hurts. Let me look at the best in the market. So we are number one on Amazon in our area. So we're really thrilled that we can be that. And as a matter of fact, we just won Best Dermaplaner at the Marie Claire Skin Awards, 2024 Skin Awards. So once again,
amazing. Well done.
And because I'm just so thrilled that you can do that, because if you're really on top of your business and your quality control and the quality of your products, and I read every single review, good and bad. So, we're fortunate to be in that position. So we don't have to worry about, the bigger issues that I think perhaps a Gillette or a Venus would have to worry about. So we're thrilled to be award winning and the best in our area.
And those awards are not only about reaffirming that what you're doing is great. I think, tell me about what does this recognition mean to you and your team as well, especially with all the hard work you've been putting into the brand and the business.
It's just the icing on the cake. Like you say, it's the recognition. I mean, oftentimes there's award shows that are voted for by not only consumers, but professionals in the industry. So to be recognized, a lot of companies do submit and, you're recognized by these professionals as the best, as award winning. So I think it means a lot. It's not just something you, of course, use in your marketing, but it means something to be recognized as the best. And why not shout about that once you win the award? Like you say, there's so much hard work that goes into it. To be able to be recognized as the best is fantastic.
And we also know that there's a lot of misinformation out there about dermaplaning. I mean, I didn't know what dermaplaning was until a few years ago. And the fact that your products have to be, I have to do it myself. So how do you educate consumers and dispel these common myths and misconceptions?
Remember when we first launched, there were no other dermaplaners in the marketplace. So we had to really just focus on education. Everyone was like, oh, the hair is going to grow back thick and dark and coarse like a beard. So it was about educating. So whether it was Instagram videos, YouTube videos, but now, interestingly, everyone jumped on the bandwagon. I think that a few years ago, Grazia came out with a list of like the top beauty trends, and dermaplaning was number one with like 4 billion views on TikTok. So now we have to educate people about why we're the best, that not all dermaplaners are created equal. So it's really interesting to see, obviously we were at the forefront, how you have to change your messaging, because it's not just about now many people know about dermaplaning, but now it's about, why is ours better than the rest?
I always ask entrepreneurs or CEOs or anyone who's in a position where they've grown over time about how do they feel their background has influenced, what they're doing now is in the business. Do you think you coming from an entertainment background has been your superpower? What are those things growing up have been the foundations for you as the founder of the business?
Well, yeah, I think that my background has really come in handy because as an actor, you're selling yourself. You're selling your skills. As a producer of theater, which I did for a long time, you're selling your show. You're selling tickets to your show. And in business and beauty, especially, you're selling a product. You're selling the dream. And then I think I was lucky enough to be able to do TV shopping from so many years ago. And keep in mind, TikTok Shop, which is all the craze right now, that's basically TV shopping.
It is, yes. Yeah.
I was so fortunate, even though people were poo-pooing TV shopping back in the day. It's so cheesy. It was the best education because you learn the basics of selling and live selling, which is you're going to see the results immediately. That's the fantastic thing about TV shopping or selling online. It features tell, benefits sell. That is like the simplest thing, but the most important thing when you're selling. And also the words you use. Back in the day when you'd watch in the green room, when you had a manager watching your show, you'd use a word or a phrase and you'd see like all of a sudden hundreds of thousands of units are being sold. So you see the spikes. So I was very fortunate to be able to have not only the acting and producing background, but then the TV shopping background. And I think it's all come in handy massively as I continue to grow the business.
I mean, that's such a great even lesson or tip just for anyone that features sell benefits. Yeah, I love it.
Remember, I was being trained and the person's like, look, do you care? Look at this list of ingredients on this moisturizer. Do you care? Or do you want to know what it's going to do for you? How it's going to benefit your skin? Is your skin going to look more plump and beautiful and more radiant? Or do you really care that this ingredient is in it, this ingredient? No one really cares. They want to know what it's going to do for them and how it's going to benefit them. So, yeah, it's really fascinating. If you watch TV show, if you watch any sort of marketing, if you look really behind it, that's all people want to know. What's it going to do for them? How is it going to benefit them?
And we know now from a technology standpoint that, the likes of Google are rewarding brands and businesses that have as much detail about the product, that have images, that have video. We know that customers are typing and asking, whether it's Alexa, Siri, Gemini, they're asking what are the benefits of for them to be able to make the decision. So you are sort of already ahead of the game before it's all become a tech AI thing, isn't it?
Exactly. And, the thing is, look, people used to poo-poo this, poo-poo that. The important thing to realize is just, what's best for you and your business. Yes, listen to people, but ultimately listen to your gut. I love TV shopping from the get-go because I knew it was powerful. And I couldn't care less that people thought it was cheesy or, I remember when I watched Bridget Jones's Diary, remember her mother in the original, her mother was like the assistant to some TV shopping presenter and they made her look so bad and it was so cheesy and whatnot. And, fast forward all these years later and look at TikTok Shop. Everyone's desperate to be on TikTok Shop and to see great sales because it's sort of easy money.
Yeah. And how are you navigating TikTok Shop in terms of, you talked about the fact that you don't have many SKUs, so you're very focused on quality, having the right SKUs. Do you think that's also been a superpower for you in terms of navigating that channel?
Absolutely. And the other thing is I've patented my designs. I'm trying to obviously we are the leader in dermaplaning, but I want to also be a bit different. So how do you do that? Well, you create from scratch from here because I'm so passionate about dermaplaning and the benefits and all that it can do for people. But, I also listen to my customers. So at one point, a customer said, that is very intimidating to have the blade or the edge so close to my eyeball. So I said, okay, great. Now I'm going to have to make a smaller edge. So I listened to that customer and I made one specifically for the eye area, for the brow. And then I did we all love a multifunctional tool, dual-sided, booly and shorter edge for the brows. Always innovating, always staying on top of things.
It's so interesting, the power of customer feedback, if you listen to it, isn't it?
Yes, and I do. Like I said, I really do read every review, every single one. And, you learn them. They always say you learn the most from failures. So I really focus on the negative ones. Why? Of course, I love the positive ones because we get mostly positive, but why does that customer feel that way? What is their experience? How come they're not, being able to access the blade or whatnot? So, when I created the Sonic one, I made sure there was a 45-degree angle in the head so that they wouldn't have a problem finding the correct angle to dermaplane with. So, yes.
That is so cool. For the audience who's listening to this, you probably need to watch this on video as well. She's demonstrating and showing all these amazing products. So I love that. I think that's a big thing because you don't want to cut yourself at the end of the day. So it needs to be smooth. It needs to be angled. It needs to hit those areas. I love that.
Yeah. And the other thing was when I first started the brand, I did private label one just to see how it went. And I couldn't believe the success was massive. But I remember I was doing a QVC Germany TV shopping presentation and I was talking and I was gesticulating. And I remember I myself pricked myself and I thought, oh my God, there's a little bit of blood on my chin because it was so sharp and the blade was a 90-degree angle. So immediately I thought, I'm going to learn from my own mistake. I've got to round that edge so it's not so dangerous. And within the next, few weeks, I was manufacturing my next batch and I made sure to have that tip rounded. So not only do I learn from my customers, but as I use my products all the time, I put my customer hat on and I think, how can I make the things safer and better and easier for my customers?
Now, we know that sustainability is huge, not just in beauty, but in other industries as well. So how are you embracing eco-friendly practices? Do you want to talk about this, whether it's your product, your design, your packaging?
Absolutely. Well, one of the criticisms we got early on was people didn't like that we were using plastic, single-use plastic, etc., even though our products last 2 to 3 months usually. So we looked into using eco-friendly wheat straw, which is biodegradable. So we made that switch and it seemed to be a massive hit because customers were happy with it. And then I do keep that in mind with all the other products we come out with. How does that carbon footprint look? We do a microfiber cleansing pad that you just throw into the washing machine, you let it air dry, and then you can use it again. So yeah, it is definitely at the forefront of what we do. And we definitely take that on board and we will continue to do so as we develop new products.
You talked a bit about your team when we started the podcast. Have you grown your team over the years? And are you a business that has investment, or is it something that you just want to keep within the Hollywood Browzer beauty family as it is?
Well, we've definitely bootstrapped. I haven't taken investment. I've been lucky enough to be able to reinvest profits into the business. So that's really great. And I must say I outsource a lot of what we do. Because as you grow, you kind of outgrow people and agencies. So I think it's great to be able to have that freedom to be able to change as you go because your needs change. So we have been outsourcing a lot of what we do. And there's so much talent in other parts of the world as well. Our customer service is in the Philippines and we speak to them all the time. They're fabulous. Our warehouse is in England. So we have we have a British guy that sits in Albania that looks after our Google ads. So I think the agencies love also the fact that they're outsourced and they can act like they're in-house. So that's been our business model for now, and it's working. If by chance it doesn't work as we continue to grow, we'll revisit that.
There's something to be said about leveraging, isn't it? The experience that is available, and from an agency model globally, that is so amazing that we're able to do that in this day and age, isn't it?
And yes, also a reason I like agencies is because they have the experience and the knowledge from other brands. When you have someone in-house, there are benefits, but I love the fact that they can tell me about another brand. They shall remain nameless, but a brand that might do this, might do that, and they can apply that knowledge and that expertise from working with that brand to our brand, to our account. I love it. It works for us and we're really happy with that.
Yeah, it means you're always on the front foot, never behind in terms of technology or advances or, whatever's going on in that market, because there is a danger when you are all in-house that it's very insular as well.
Yeah, I mean, we also have had different size agencies work with us. So we started with some bigger ones. And now we love smaller agencies because they appreciate the work. They also act like they're in-house. Sometimes people don't even know on the outside that they are not in-house. So I love that. I recommend it, but everyone has different needs.
I think it's a superpower in its well. And thank you for sharing that, because a lot of the time it's about demystifying the fact that you need a massive team when you start out, because those are also costs. And you don't know what you don't know is what I always say, isn't it? So if you can leverage expertise from somebody else to help you in those areas, then it's a win-win for both parties.
Yeah, and the smaller agencies are definitely more affordable. And you get that personal attention. Sometimes with the bigger agencies, you'll be sold a dream by some amazing salesperson. And then you're handed down to a team who just are not able to execute all the wonderful things that the salesperson sold you. Whereas sometimes we work with a smaller agency like we're doing now for our email marketing. And the woman that owns the agency that sold it to us is also, running the account and doing the work. So that's my preference. But, like I say, everyone will have different needs.
You're a woman founder. You're creating products for women, them, but we're talking about empowering women and being passionate and feeling confident in their own skin. How does your brand contribute to this mission, and what are some of the amazing things you're doing?
What I want people to know, and the reason why I wanted to invent an at-home, consumer-friendly dermaplaning brand and dermaplaners, is because I wanted people to know that you can take this into your own hands. You are in control of your beauty. The thing is, I think a lot of people read about great treatments and they think, oh, I can't afford that.
I mean, that's brilliant. And, you've talked about the various products and demonstrated them as well. Are there any new exciting things that I should be looking out for in terms of what you're working on from some product development? Of course you can't. Ooh, love that. Are there some trends that you're excited about in beauty and skincare? I love that. You've just found the niche, identified the need. And I think about staying authentic is really key, isn't it? In terms of your product, your brand, your ethos, what you represent. How does that translate? Because I'm encouraging a lot of women who I meet, who are entrepreneurs, to network, not only because it takes them out of their comfort zone, but you get to meet other amazing people who are in different sectors or might be in the same journey as you. How important has that been to you as an entrepreneur? I love that. I mean, the fact also that there's so many different organizations out there, like you are not starved of finding your tribe in terms of what works for you, isn't it, these days? I think before it used to be some sort of, in my opinion, elitist club that you couldn't join because it was too expensive, too unattainable, or you had to have worked for certain companies to have been in them. But now there is so much choice. And it's about finding your niche and your tribe. I mean, that thing of just do it is a big thing. Like I keep saying when I meet people saying you've got a phone, you can even start just by building that community on social. Test the market and see what's going on. See if people, there's actually a need for the service or the product that you want to offer. Yeah. Looking back from acting to where you are now, what are you most proud of? Just like, let's pat Amy on the back now. What has been your biggest lesson you've learned along the way, and what are you most proud of? I think also about establishing dermaplaning as a routine, like brushing your teeth. It should just be part of your daily self-care. We are now on to the final parts of the podcast. And before we wrap up, I always have a thing called Trailblazer takeaway tips. So, what are the key messages? I'm going to do it differently this time that you want to impart to our listeners about beauty, self care, and embracing their own glow. So, that's one part. And then the other part is, what tips would you like to share for our audience in terms of how they navigate through their personal or professional goals? Love it. Amy, what a fabulous way to end the podcast. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you. Your journey is so inspiring. I've loved learning about the product. I've actually used the product. So this is not an ad, but genuinely, because you are right. It is very expensive, all these beauty treatments that are out there. So anything or practices that I can have that I can do on my own and have as a daily routine is just really important. So where can the listeners find your products and stay connected with you? Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Amy. You've been such an amazing guest. Thank you for joining us on Trailblazers Experience podcast. And a reminder for everyone to follow, like, and subscribe. We can only grow by having your input and spreading it all the way. But yeah, until next time, keep shining and embracing your true beauty. Thank you so much, Amy.